Good morning, Midland Online Academy students, or any other student who happens to be watching from home because you're not in this room because you're quarantined. MOA students, this is going to be slightly different. So, if you're truly MOA, you're still going to see a link to these videos here, but that video is going to be embedded in the Google form for your attendance because I need to make sure you watch these videos. So, first things first, if you're watching this video, you're already looking at this Google form that lives here. We're going to do this every day. And so, you're going to put in your name, which MOA section you're in. You're going to watch the video. Right now, this has a video from 2 weeks ago because I'm making the video right now. But when you look at it, it'll be the right video. And then there's 5 questions that we're going to answer through the course of this video. And you're going to get graded on this because I need you to watch these videos. It is not an option, right? Y'all are driving me crazy with this. Okay, so our goal for the day in the stream says I could summarize the events around the election of 1796 and John Adams' foreign policy. All right. So when we go back to the classwork tab, we're going to see a Google assignment called Two Parties Emerge that looks like this. You'll open up the link to the reading. You'll read through here and it'll tell you all about the election of 1776. And it'll tell you what the parties were doing, and it'll tell you who won that election, which is John Adams. John Adams becomes president number 2. He replaces George Washington. He defeats Thomas Jefferson. That's 2 of the questions of, we just answered 3 of the 5 questions for today. So if you just heard me say that Adams replaces Washington and defeats Jefferson, you can answer 3 of the 5 questions. Easy. All right, so you're going to do the Google form on this, right? And there's a lot more questions on this. This is a 10-question one. But you're going to use that reading to answer questions 1, 2, and 3. We just talked about those. Okay, so if you want to pause the video now and do this Google form, you can. Otherwise, you can do the Google form later, and we're going to move on to the next part. So having dealt with the election of 1776, part 2 says we're going to talk about John Adams' foreign policy. So coming back to classwork again, under Early Republic, you're going to open up your digital interactive notebook, which looks like this. And we've already done page 2. You should have the Cabinet and Whiskey Rebellion defined. We're going to learn what the XYZ affair was, so you're going to be able to do that today. We should have already done Washington before Thanksgiving. The 2 parties, we did that before Thanksgiving. If you're missing those, go back and look on last week's agenda. The videos are there. But here we are on John Adams. So you need a picture of John Adams, and you need his years in office. You can pause the video and do those really quick. And once you've got a picture and years in office, here under foreign policy is we're going to do that first. We'll get to domestic tomorrow. The other thing you need to do this is our Early Republic notes. So the Early Republic notes this week look a little bit different than the slideshow I was using last week. I actually gave you guys a simplified version. So here's what our new simplified version of the slideshow looks like. And this is all Washington stuff. We already talked about Washington. But now we're going to get to John Adams. So I want you to notice that on this one, it's domestic on foreign on the other, and they're flip-flops. So make sure you put the right ones in the right place. We're worried about foreign policy today. So again, you're in this pink column, okay? So here we go. These are the big ideas. So George Washington believed in neutrality. And John Adams is going to try to keep his idea of neutrality going. He does not want to get involved in the war that's brewing between Great Britain and the French. But remember we said before Thanksgiving, France was mad about Jay's treaty. So they started attacking American ships. Now, they did a little bit before Washington left office, but they really didn't want to mess with Washington. But the French view John Adams as weak. So as soon as Washington's gone, French attacks on American ships step up, okay? So that's going to create a crisis. So Adams sends over some diplomats to try to cool things down with France. And these diplomats, Charles Cotsworth Pinckney, John Marshall, and Elbridge Gerry, they get over to France, and agents of the French Foreign Minister Talleyrand ask them for a bribe. And in their letters, they refer to these agents as X, Y, and Z. They don't refer to them by their actual names. And so this is outrageous. Everybody gets mad. America refuses to pay for that. And that whole episode goes down something like this.
Angry at U.S. neutrality in the British-French conflict, the French had attacked a number of American ships. It was a big problem for President John Adams. The French keep attacking American ships. What shall I do? I must send smart diplomats to negotiate with French Foreign Minister Charles Maurice de Talleyrand Perigord. We are very smart diplomats. We want to negotiate. Please send us to France. My dream has come true. Surely Charles Pinckney, John Marshall, and Elbridge Gerry will successfully negotiate. Well, what are you waiting for? Get to work. Consider it done, Mr. President. This is cool. Did we like diplomats? Here come the foreign minister's representatives. Let's report to them as X, Y, and Z. So you want us to leave your ships alone? Yes, we do. How much? I'd say pretty much. Enough to offer us a ride. Enough now. France is a powerful country. You better pay. We'd rather fight an expensive war than pay you some stupid bribe. We say millions for defense, not 1 cent for tribute. You'll be sorry. When Americans got word of how disrespectfully they'd been treated by the French, many wanted to go to war. George Washington was ready to come out of retirement to lead the army. Adams, however, tried further negotiation, and this time, France treated America seriously. The XYZ affair, so named because that's how Americans referred to the French representatives who demanded a bribe, showed the world that the United States demanded to be treated with respect.
Okay, so now you understand this XYZ affair. And then finally, the war ends when Adams tries to negotiate a second time, and this time it's successful. So this winds up being a big foreign policy success for John Adams. And really, in the eyes of history, when it comes to foreign policy, Adams is considered a success. Domestic's going to be a little bit different. We'll get to that tomorrow. But now that we've gone through all of this, right, we should be answering these first 3 questions. We should know why France was angry, and we should know whether or not foreign policy for Adams was a success. And you should now have the picture here, the years here, and this pink column done. So that's our lesson for today. You've got the attendance Google form, the 2 parties Google form, your interactive notebook. Once you're done with that, you're done for the day. But do remember, we have an Achieve 3000 article this week called Discovering Our World. It's not due till Friday, but do remember that it's there so that you don't fall behind. Okay, guys, there'll be a fresh video in the attendance for tomorrow. See you then.